We'll start with Marx, a very good place to start. His extremely famous and often cut short quote. He says, "Religious suffering is at one and the same time the expression of real suffering and a protest against real suffering. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people. The abolition of religion as the illusionary happiness of the people is the demand for their real happiness. To call on them to give up their illusions about their conditions is to call on them to give up a condition that requires illusions." From this quote, the conclusion that's often drawn is that religion is bad and Marx doesn't like religion, so we should stop being religious. However, if you look at the full quote, it sums up the roots of religious thinking, its role in soothing the conditions of suffering, and then prescribes the material basis for overcoming those conditions. By using the analogy of a pain reliever, Marx is pointing out that living under capitalism is super shitty and painful, and sometimes we need a buffer to ease the difficult conditions of life. In the second half of his quote, Marx is asserting that demanding that we just abolish religion is not based in material reality. If we as Marxists agree that religion can be a comfort for those suffering under capitalism, abolishing religion outright would leave a large portion of the working class to face the horrors of the system alone. Rather, we should be focusing on ridding the world of the root causes of religion, which are the underlying material conditions that lead people to seek out comfort. In this way, Marx is seeing religion as a symptom, not the disease itself. Once the root cause of suffering has been eradicated, religion should naturally die out because people would be getting their needs met. On the other side of the painkiller analogy, opium is also something that dulls the senses and induces relaxation, which Marx believed was one way that religion could be weaponized by the ruling class. For example, one of the biggest theoretical questions that religion seeks to answer is what happens when we die? The promise of an afterlife gives people something to look forward to. You can put up with kind of a lot in your everyday life if you have eternal bliss waiting for you in death. Along those lines, religious doctrine often makes a virtue of being exploited by idolizing those who endure oppression and suffering as righteous and therefore more godly. The Bible famously states, "It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God." Scriptures like this kind of emphasize that if you're poor and you're suffering, that's actually good. It's good, actually, because you're going to get closer to heaven. Obviously, this is an important way for the church to instill in believers that being poor is good while they accumulate wealth at the top. This further reinforces social order and class division, offering hope of a supernatural intervention to solve problems on earth rather than encouraging the population to improve their own material conditions. Therefore, one of the ways that religion is weaponized by the ruling class is to prevent people from making demands for social change by dulling the pain of oppression and promising a blissful afterlife.